Hello, welcome, and this is going to be a really great day. I've just picked up my new Model 3 long range performance, the new 2021 revised version, and to test this improved efficiency, allegedly heat pump, slightly different battery, different tyres, different wheels. Is it going to be more efficient than the old one or the other models? So today I've gathered up some friends with other Teslas and we're going to do a great range comparison test. So we're going to do a fixed route, all driving at the same speed, in convoy, in the same weather conditions. And it is a bit wet and cold today, so will this heat pump make a difference? We don't know. But this is as even as we can get it. We've all charged to 70%, so we're going to start with exactly the same amount of battery charge, and we're going to measure the efficiency over a fixed distance. We've got a route that's about 115 miles with a couple of stop-off points where we can take the data from the cars on how efficient they are. So we're going to crack on with it. It's cold and wet out here, but this should be a really good and interesting experiment. And obviously we'll publish the table of results at the end and take some shots as we go. Thank you very much. Let's get on with it. I admit now I'm not brilliant, but I'm Richard. This is Gints, who's our photographer at work now. We've got a full-time photographer, media guys. We ramp everything up. There's Serge. Obviously Serge is going around, so he's probably collecting. We need to kind of grab your names and registration numbers and what models you've got, so that as we've got you in film, you know, we know who's doing what. And what we'll do is obviously do a bit of, you right, Nick? Yeah. Good. I see you've got your green plates as well.
Well, they're stick-ons.
Comes with it. So yeah, thanks all for coming today. Hopefully this is just going to be interesting for all of us. I've done 40 miles, 50 miles now. So far, I don't see much difference, to be honest. So this will be really interesting to see if there is much difference between this and the previous cars, the old cars. I refer to them as old, but I don't want to be derogatory about that because it doesn't seem to be too much difference at all.
Some of the drivers are old too.
Well, you know, we go to the same hairdresser, don't we? So, so this will be really good. I've got a bit of a route planned out, and the route gives us a bit of scenery, so it's not just sat on the motorway. I kind of think with the Braintree one, it would have been nice to go there. It's a good site, but we would have just been on the motorway the whole time as well. So in a way, maybe this is a little bit better to mix a few A roads, a bit of the A272 from Petersfield to Winchester is quite nice. I figured we may as well pull in at the new Winchester site and see how that's looking. I haven't been there for a little while now. I hear it's pretty much done, and they're starting service there in January, so that'd be quite cool. They only gave that to me with 59%, so it's a 35% now. We'll try and get it up. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. So has everyone got their charge limit set at the moment to 70%? Yeah. Good. And we've got, is this the X75 with 22s? Yeah, good, right. So well, we've got to look after you, and we've got our old 85 there as well with 21s, probably hasn't got the best range in the world. But what we need to do, I do the 70% because it stops us being here too long trying to brim them up high. There's other people who are going to want to charge. But do you know how to all reset your trips? Yeah, everyone's... Yeah, well, that's it. So we'll check and help if you need it. So the cars that are pulled over here, where are they all at? They kind of 70% charges? Yeah, good. I just figured that doing that gives us a chance just to give a little bit of a benchmark where it's just easier, isn't it? We can all measure how much energy use we've used, but if we can say they've gone from 70 to now 65, we've got just an easier kind of comparative there. But using the trips, every time we stop, and there's going to be sort of 2 or 3 stops, we will just go around and note your trip info, and then just log all that, and we'll obviously have to sort of put that into a table at the end. So it's getting busy here, and I don't want to interrupt people that are not a part of the group. But yeah, thanks all for coming today. Hopefully this will be good. Who's quite new to Tesla ownership? September, yeah. Okay, good. Well, I've been a Tesla owner for 5 years. Nick's very much a veteran of Tesla ownership, and obviously a lot of us got some experience. So for you guys, like, you know, feel free to ask questions as well. You know, to have fun today. We normally do quite a few gatherings of various sorts over a year, don't we, Nick? But it's been a bit, not this year. This is it. This is the point. So, you know, for the guys, if anyone's got any questions, do ask away. Myself, Serge, Nick, probably got plenty of experience all between us, and we'll happily help, obviously, with anything you've got. So, I just want to sort of, whilst we're all on camera and live now, maybe just introduce yourselves very briefly with your name and what car you've got. and then we'll pause, get the cars to level, make use of the toilets before we set off. We will be stopping off at the Tesla charger at Old Thorns in Liphook, but I don't want you to set your car to the supercharger destination because your car will preheat and use extra energy for that. If we can, and we'll see what we're like when we're there. I probably want to avoid charging there for most of us. X75 and 22s, maybe we'll top you up just to make sure. And our camera car with Surge will probably top that up a little bit as well. We can take the data from your car, Surge, but I think as you're going to be kind of overtaking and doing a few film shots with, yeah, we're going to be hanging out the window doing a few shots as we're all in a convoy, but we'll probably eliminate that and we'll probably top your charge up, but we'll just take your trip first before plugging in. But just set Old Thorns Hotel as a destination rather than a supercharger because the cars obviously expel energy to preheat before that. Let's start on my left. Nick, veteran of Tesla ownership.
Tesla owner since 2015, started off with a Model S, then changed to a Model X 90D in, I think it was November 2007. No, was it? No, about January 2017, I think it was. And I changed it, courtesy of Richard, I changed it to a performance Model X last year, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, best part of a year ago now,
Yeah.
I think, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. And you're enjoying it so far?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Nothing's fallen off yet.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Hi, Michael Cullen, Model X 75D owner on 22-inch wheels. Been a Tesla owner since 2018, where bought a Model S for my partner and then bought the Model X in February of this year. Pretty high mileage and yeah, really enjoying the cars.
Very good. We're expecting this to have the highest consumption shortest range, so it'll be interesting to see, won't it? And I guess in terms of efficiency, is it difference to obviously Nick's on the 22s as well? So we'll see. Okay.
Hiya.
Keep a distance here.
I'm Jim Hall. I got a 75D, but I'm not coming on the trip, so I don't know if you want to. I'll say hi. Got a 75D. It was a 60D, and now it's a 75D. It's unlocked.
Okay, nice to meet you. So you're not coming on the rest of the trip?
No, I just came to say hi to you.
Yeah,
guys.
well, good to see you as well. Hi.
Hi, I'm Scott. I've got the Model 3 Performance in white. Also run the Facebook group Model 3 UK and the YouTube channel Model 3 UK as well. So you might find me on there occasionally.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to get some push my car a little bit today maybe because I don't normally push it to be honest as a performance.
Well, good. Let's see if there's any difference between the new one and the old one in terms of efficiency, at least. I think my first instinct on the drive then, there wasn't a great deal of obvious difference, but obviously we'll see. We've got Pirelli tyres in the new one, and I guess you're running the Michelins on the standard 2020s.
Still the originals, that I got. I only had a car, a year and a quarter. I got it last September. Yep. So a year and a quarter now I've had it, so yeah.
Brilliant, okay, excellent. I'll move on with now.
Hello, Nigel Ward, Model 3 long range, which I've had for just under a year.
Excellent. Enjoying it so far?
Oh, totally, absolutely, totally sold on it.
Good. Well, in theory, you've probably got one of the best efficiency ratings here. Time will tell. We'll see how we go in the day.
Hi, Julian Morse. I've got a red Model 3 long range and I'm excited to try to learn how to drive the car when it's not in chill mode because that's all I use at the moment and I probably shouldn't, but there you go.
Good. In theory, the different modes shouldn't make a difference to the actual economy, more how it drives. At the end of the day, it takes X amount of energy to drive A to B, so we'll put it into its normal sport mode and you feel the sharpness of the throttle, but actually it shouldn't make a difference to the economy. In theory, we'll see. Maybe at one point we'll put it in chill and see if it does make a difference. If we've got enough long ranges here, maybe that's the difference we can make. So we'll see what we've got.
Give it a go.
Yeah, exactly. What have we got?
I'm John Hudd. I'm here in a Model 3 Performance today.
Excellent.
We have an X and an S hiding at home, but it's a 2019 model, so it should be a good comparison against your one.
Brilliant, okay.
Something interesting to mention.
Okay, so just my colleague Serge. Right, distance, Serge, distance.
Sorry. John is actually the previous owner of our company car, of the S85.
That's the first Tesla I ever
Really? So when that car pulled in, you thought, I recognise that number plate?
I'd known it was done to you anyway, but yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Good to meet you. What we're going to do as well, whilst I think of it, by the way, is we're just going to have our climate controls on and range mode off. So just whilst I think of it, climate control on, just so we're all comfortable. I don't know why I'm not wearing a coat outside right now.
What temperature?
Well, I have my temperature at 20.5, but I think at 1 or 2 degrees of difference in temperature doesn't make a difference. But just have your climate control on and range mode off, just normal driving. We're going to stick to speed limits. We're not going to be doing performance tests. We're going to be just driving what we would consider normally. We'll try and keep in convoy so that we've got the same cars in the same conditions at the same speed and minimal differences in driving style, basically. So we've got a really good comparison for range. So that's what we're going to get to today. We'll data log this as we go through the day, and it should be really interesting. So we'll hit the road in a minute. Again, all the cars are 70%, and we'll drive off in convoy. The weather's not brilliant. It's about 10 degrees today, isn't it? And it's fairly wet and windy and cold. So not quite sub-zero temperatures, but definitely not the best for efficiency. So let's see how they all compare. Okay, so we're at the first stop now, and I've even got a cup of coffee with me. We're at the old Thorns Hotel in Liphook in Hampshire, and there's a bank of superchargers here. So with the Model 3s, we're not using them. We've still got plenty of charge. A couple of the Model X's are just topping up a little bit, but we're taking the trip data as we go. Starting to get some interesting results. Obviously, we'll give you the complete results at the end. We're going to do 2 more sections to this journey. That first section was mainly dual carriageway at sort of 65, 70 in convoy, is sort of between 60 and 70 miles an hour. It was wet during that journey with light rain, and my car was reading about 11 degrees, so it wasn't a particularly nice, pleasant journey. The next section is going to be some A roads, so it'll be a mixture of kind of slightly slower and then slightly faster sections of an A road. And we're going to go across to Winchester, where there's a new Tesla site that's opening soon. So that'll be the next port of call, just for a quick stop, regather some more data, and then we'll compile all that data into a results table at the end. And at the end, we'll also do a recharging kind of race to see how long it takes us to get the cars back to a set limit. Model X is excluded. They're having their own separate trip and consumption battle, but the Model 3 certainly, maybe there's a difference between the new 2021 Model 3 performance and the older ones, we don't know. So we'll wait and see. But in the meantime, my friend Nick has got this excellent setup in the front of his Model X to provide a socially distanced coffee. So this has proven excellent on a wet, cold day like today. So we'll see you at the next stop. Cheers, Nick. Right, so we've just done a quick stop off at, this is going to be a new site, Tesla Winchester in Hampshire. This would be the closest one to our unit, so I'm sure we're going to be here loads. So it's open for sales now. It used to be a Ford site here, right next to Mercedes. I see they had an EQC at the front. They're open for sales, but the service centre will open in beginning of January is the plan. So they're just finishing that up. They're literally putting in ramps today. There's quite a lot of space here. And then down this side, they are planning to put in 8 superchargers, which probably won't be there straight away, but that's the plan, to have 8 superchargers down on the side here. And that'll serve the traffic up and down the M3 between the kind of South Coast and London really well. And it looks like a great facility. It goes right at the back over there. Service at the back, service behind there. So it'll be quite a big service centre here covering all the central South Coast. So we're looking forward to this. Obviously they're starting to bring cars in. They're doing a couple of test drives from here. We've just spoken to the chaps. All being well, opening in January. For our range test, we're on our last stop now before we go to the Amesbury superchargers. The Amesbury supercharger now is north, up near Stonehenge, and that's a V3 supercharger. So we're going to go there, take all the data from all the cars. I'm enjoying driving the Model 3. I have to say, after being in an S for the last few weeks in the Model 3, you can see the difference of the handling, maybe not as refined on the motorway, but good fun to drive. It will be interesting to see where we're at. I think we've got some interesting data so far, haven't we, Serge? So we're going to push on the last leg of the journey now before it gets too late and dark, and we'll capture all the data, get plugged in, and then we'll reveal what the results are. Okay, so it's mid-afternoon, it's pretty wet. Welcome to England. We're just down the road from Stonehenge, actually. It's just over there at Solstice Park Services in Amesbury. And so we've covered pretty much 100 miles in a real mixture of conditions, dual carriageway. The last section was extremely wet. I'll give you some verdicts on the tyres, but I'm going to do a separate video on that coming out in the next couple of days, hopefully. We're doing a whole thing about the tyres on the performance. So a great drive, all in convoy, all similar conditions, as equal as we can possibly get this to really compare the amount of kilowatt hours and the efficiency of each of the Model 3s, the 2021 performance versus the previous performance. We've also got a long range with and without Aeros of a previous model, the 2019, 2020 model. So we're going to compile the data of that now. I think get inside the car, it's still pouring out here, and we'll give you the results in a moment. We'll also publish a table then at the end, so I'll go through the results in a minute once we've collated them, and we'll also put a table at the end of the video. I hope it's been good watching so far. I'll be back to you in a minute with the answers. Okay, so here are the results of our efficiency range test. We've had to come inside, it's pouring with rain, it's freezing outside. So this 2021 Model 3 performance on our test route, and a mixture of conditions, so some fast A roads, a bit of town, and some dual carriageway, and increasingly quite wet today. So the last bit was very wet actually, so that wouldn't have been very efficient. The average watt hours per mile on this journey for this car is 296 watt hours per mile, and we used 26 kilowatt hours of energy. The route worked out to 88 miles. So 26 kilowatt hours of energy, 296 watt hours a mile was the average. If we compare that to a previous version, the older Model 3 performance, we had two of those, both on 20-inch wheels, so not the P- with the Aeros, the 20-inch alloy wheels. And there was a slight variation with these. So one used 27 kilowatt hours with an average of 302 watt hours per mile. And the other one used 28 kilowatt hours with an average of 314 watt hours per mile. In theory, they should have been exactly the same. So reasons for the variance is hard to say. Again, we did this as accurately as we could on the same roads, literally in convoy at the same speed at the same time. So some variation, tyre wear, tyre pressure, different cabin temperature maybe. Any other ideas, let us know in the comments below. Then we had another comparison really. So this was slightly more efficient. Let's just summarise the performance models, slightly more efficient than the previous ones, but it has to be said not by much. The other thing I would add to this is we also timed how long it took to recharge back up to the 70% that we left with. And I was interested to see if this car, maybe it would charge a bit quicker, maybe it wouldn't. We're on V3 chargers here, so I think they should all have equal power. But they charge slightly quicker, actually. I was plugging in at, I think when I had about 36%, 39, 38%, I was charging at a maximum about 78 kilowatts charge speed. One of them in particular just had a higher charging speed. Again, a little bit hard to know exactly why. Differences in the power here perhaps. So he actually recharged back to 70% in 20 minutes. This car took another 5 minutes or so to get to the same point that we left with. So a little bit of variation. It certainly doesn't seem to charge any faster. Then we've got an interesting variable here, or comparison with two Model 3 long range. And we had one long range which had Aero caps on. So he used 24 kilowatt hours with an average of 269 watt hours per mile. More efficient than this, and the most efficient on test today, which isn't a great surprise, but that's good news. And we had another one, the long range, without the aero covers on, so the aero covers taken off and just having the alloy wheel. So he used a little bit more energy, so that kind of ties in with the aeros indeed giving some advantage. He used 25 kilowatt hours and averaged 279 watt hours per mile. So that sits in between the car with the aeros and the performance cars. So it's probably as you'd expect it, to be honest. Then we had two Model X's, which is into the mix here. They were on the trip, so we'll give you the results of those as well. We had an X75D 22-inch wheels. Now that used 36.2 kilowatt hours, averaging 402 watt hours per mile. And then we had an XP100D, also on the 22-inch alloy wheels. He used 39.7 kilowatt hours and averaged 452 watt hours per mile. So that was the least efficient, the one that used the most energy. So 39.7 kilowatt hours compared to the most efficient 24. So almost double a Model 3 long range with the aero covers. So we will put these results in a table to view at the end. I think my overall summary from today is that the newer Model 3 performance really isn't a great deal different to the previous one. There was obviously a little bit. It's down to 8 degrees outside now, so maybe the heat pump plays a part. This obviously has these Pirelli tyres, so like I said, we'll do a separate video about them. In the heavy ranges now, they felt pretty good, but I'll review them in comparison on a separate video. So do subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon. But before I go, there's a little wild card here, which took us a bit by surprise. So we had our camera car, which is one of our cars, and that's a 2014 S85 on 21-inch alloy wheels. It's parked just over there in the rain. Now, we don't have a CCS for that, so he's not even charging. We weren't trying with this car. It wasn't in the comparison table, but nonetheless, we had the trip reset anyway. And interestingly, that car, S85, 21-inch wheels, averaged 295 watt hours per mile. So that's pretty efficient. It's actually slightly better than this Model 3 Performance, the new one. So, and we weren't even trying. That car was having to sort of stop and pull over and accelerate past and do the filming. So we weren't trying with that car. I think it could be a bit better. And it was just at the end when my colleague said, actually, this is what the result of this was, that we were a bit surprised by that. It wasn't trying, and yet it's actually better than the older Model 3 performances, and slightly better than this one, in fact, only beaten by the Model 3 long ranges. So there's an interesting result. I hope that's useful to everybody. It was as accurate as we can do on our day, time that we have today. It's interesting results. I think it'd be good to run this again in different temperatures and some more routes. So no doubt we'll be doing a bit more of this again in the future. But there's some interesting results there. So I do hope that's been useful. Thank you for watching. I appreciate that. Subscribe to our channel. Tell us comments. Tell us all the other things you want to see about this new Model 3 Performance. And look out for the other videos coming soon. Headlights, tyre performance, acceleration tests, and a bit more detail again about some of the differences between this and the older one. But for now, thank you very much.